Okay, I'm very excited to see so many people here in the Friday evening listening to me instead of going out. So I'll be very conscious of your time. So here's the gist of it. So I'm going to talk about the problems of building a product part-time without a proper team, GTM strategy, blah, 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 and that's a very bad idea. That's it. So bit more details, not details, just the structure of the talk. So things that I'm going to present, they are just a summary of my experience over the last 18 years or so in building own products, customers' products, failed products, some successful products. And obviously this does not represent the whole experience in the world. So if you disagree with something, want to add something, have concerns, just raise your hand and I will welcome the discussion. Now, why you should probably listen? Yeah, I've got some experience in IT, and as Tony said, for the last, I think, 12 years? Yeah, 12 years ago I founded my first company. And since then I was combining work like engineer, architect, sales manager, blah, blah, blah. Then I went through the merger. We became part of a big company, Postindustria. And then I had a quick downgrade for technical manager, which didn't take so long. And now I'm leading Postindustria. We grew, I think, since the last 6 years, we grew more than 2 times in terms of people and way more than 2 times in terms of revenue and everything else. So yeah, I've led a few exits. As I said, failed a few products. Yeah, 3 products I killed personally, but there are more victims to this. And yeah, as Tony said, moved to Split a year ago, and now we are developing our office here. And yeah, if anyone knows someone, I'm very happy who is looking for a job or looking for a change. I'm very eager to speak to everyone. So let's start from the first one that I see very frequently, and that's this bias that I'm a founder and you guys are going to build it, or I'm going to just drop in some co-working space for a few hours in a week and lead with my vision, and you guys figure this out. Unfortunately, this doesn't work. Actually, I think, well, not half, maybe less than half of the startups that I've seen from the clients, they are suffering primarily from the lack of attention of their founders. I don't know if anyone had this experience, they killed the startup this way, managing it part-time. No? Okay, you're smarter than me. So I had, well, not exactly the same experience, but it was a consequence of me combining 2 roles. As a CEO of Postindustria, we had 80 people back then, and CTO of our startup, which is like quite demanding job as well. So it was not the only reason why the product failed, but it definitely contributed. By the way, it's like how I like to put it now as a lesson learned, that probably if I focused on Postindustria back then, we will be at least twice larger now. But it is what it is. So the second interesting way of building products is thinking that you can, ask, well, juniors in the garage, this is the bit of exaggeration, but I definitely saw this a few times. And the more, I would say, deeper problem is that when, so there is a huge difference between just putting a concept of your product in the garage, literally, or in your bedroom, and actually turning it into a product that works, product that people want to buy, and then facilitating all the sales cycle, support, and everything else. So I've got, yeah, I unfortunately didn't find a better picture, but this one is from a roughly 40 years old book. And back then, the guy who did the research, if anyone heard Mythical Man Month, that's the name of the book. And this presented them some like empirical results of his research, saying that okay, this is our product in the garage, but to turn it into something that actually works with other systems, that knows that there is some reporting, we have data coming in, validating something like that, it's like 3x in terms of time and effort. And same goes for turning this product from the garage concept into the well-tested, documented, and nice thing to use. It's again 3x. So modern software as a service product is actually over here. So if you spend a week or two in the garage, so roughly 9x, that's the effort required to actually bring it to market. And thus we are totally talking about development. The guy was a researcher developer, he wasn't researching business aspect of this. And that's kind of roles you need to fulfill, and unless those roles are fulfilled, at some point in time you won't see the results you deserve actually as founders or as part of the team that does the products. I'm just curious if anyone have ever worked in a like junior team from the garage. Not really. One? I don't trust you guys. Impossible. It's like, sorry?
Kitchen top.
Kitchen, yeah, that's fine. So this is actually one of the most popular things, inadequate team, and the idea that having one or two really smart guys, which are smart, no problems about it, it's just too much work for them, and after some time you just wear out, and there is a frustration. I mean, I was or tried to be one of these guys, so trust me, it doesn't work. You just when you're trying to fix everything, you simply run out of energy at some point. Not to mention that it doesn't lead anywhere, because as the product progresses, the amount of work does not go down, it goes only up and up. So having a capable team is, very important, and that's not main reason, but one of the reasons why startups are spending so much money on the initial hires, trying to nail them right after they do the fundraising. So then, what did I kill? So that's actually a combination of two. First, I didn't have my full attention to the product, but actually wasn't designed this way. The idea was that I'm going to have a product manager, a qualified one, who is going to lead the product to the release, and the product was fairly simple. It's like expense tracker, so nothing fancy. And we keep using it, so if anyone wants to sign up, please here. But this product doesn't have we don't see any future for it. So it solves our problem, and that's nice. But I know a few products that will solve it like 40 times cheaper than building a product. So not the best lesson. That's one of my favorites. I'm not the probably most qualified person to talk about how you should do it, but it's like, if I don't know how to drive a car, I know for sure you shouldn't drive in the field, or you should drive by the road. So it's quite similar here. So the problem with we will figure this out later, or not having clear go-to-market strategy, is that you cannot, as a product team, you cannot clearly prioritize what you're going to build and why you're going to build this first and then second. Because when you give prioritization to a technical team, then usually they are saying, okay, we need to figure out architecture first, and they are right. They need to figure out architecture first, but it doesn't necessarily mean this is the best way to build business. And when we're talking about building a product, it's business first, not technology, even if you thought differently. So this is probably like the gist of it, and I definitely recommend going deeper there. But at the very basic level, founders and the core team of the product, and I'm just assuming there's like probably five people in the initial product, rarely more than that. That should be very clear. What segment are they going to serve, and why is that? What features do these people need? Why do they need them? and these should ultimately define the prioritization and some point in time when you should stop developing and start actually selling or trying to sell the product. So the problem is called marketing, but it's not just marketing, it's more like a product strategy. It is reflected mostly in lack of marketing angle, because this is what I see quite frequently in our clients as well. Usually when you come in, I mean, my typical role when we are serving some client is to come in and try to understand what you guys are solving, then understand how you're going to sell that, and then recommend how we're going to approach it from the development perspective, how to align this with the marketing angle that you got. And yeah, so it says marketing, but it actually touches all the points of the product development or the business development around the product. Yeah, so oh yeah, there is an interesting note or useful note here. I guess there are people here who work with clients on their products. Yes? No? Okay, just one. What are you doing here? Usually, okay, these are reasons that I distill for myself, but obviously that's not the whole list. So it's just easy and comforting to say that we're going to build the best product in the world, and let's just focus on the quality, build fantastic features. Our user experience is going to be, 10x better than our competitors. And these all, okay, it matters, but not that much as you might think. As a founder. And these projects, these questions, they are hard. I mean, not figuratively, they are literally hard to answer. They need research, and that's not the kind of research programmer likes to do. They are, it's just going out, asking people, and not building products. So it's not that exciting, that interesting. CTOs don't do it, designers don't do it. Okay, usually don't do it unless they pushed into this. As a result, we are. Oh yeah, and there is also one of the pushbacks, like you have a guy who says, I want to build these fantastic features, and you're saying, okay, 90% of them won't bring you money, and maybe one of them were invented by his wife, another was by his friend, and you don't know this, and you should just thread carefully, explaining why you actually should focus on that 10%, because I selfishly want to work with this guy for a long time, not just finish his product and just off we go. So, oh yeah, this is very interesting. It usually comes when the MVP is done and some clever and also clever marketing is starting, and the guys are saying to investors or to someone else or to themselves, that's even worse, then our downloads numbers are through the roof, and so our traffic is through the roof. It's like 2x better. We just use this CEO tactic, and that's fantastic. So the problem is that these are wrong metrics, and it's okay when you use it as a PR because it just bigger number, better number. It's too bad when you as a team, as a product team, are actually relying on these numbers to gauge your progress. It's like moving in a quite different or wrong direction altogether. And why is that? It's because actually I didn't want to dive too deep in the topic, but then I figured out while preparing, I figured out that actually I should. So there is so the problem with the metrics like downloads and traffic is that they actually are over here, and your customers, your money actually are over here. So if you do not measure how many guys that come into your product start using it and then keep using it and then staying and not churning, then you don't really understand if you are growing or not, because yes, you may very well have 100,000 downloads, 99,000 of them are over here. So you don't have business. You have nice numbers, but don't have business. So A, focusing on the right metrics, and B, tracking them in the right way. And when I say tracking them in the right way, I mean that if you wake up Monday morning and look at your activation rate, meaning like how many people that of those who came last week actually, registered, for instance. So activation is an event in the product. It's unique to the product. So it's some meaningful action, for instance, in the game, in the mobile game. I mean, everyone uses that. That may be completed a level, or in the software as a service product, it may be not sign up, but actually let's say in Asana, I'm creating my first project. That's an activation. So I started using the product. So number of these people related to all people that I signed up or just went to my website, it's this activation metric. So if I get up in the morning and I look into this and I see okay, it's like 20%. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know, and no one knows unless we see this in the perspective. And now the perspective, it's something. I mean, here it gets a little bit more complicated, but bear with me. This, if you didn't hear this idea or concept before, I definitely recommend digging in. It's called the Cohort Analysis. So the idea, I don't know how to do this, everyone sees. So the idea is that we don't look over here for all the users that ever came to my product. Instead, we break users into the cohorts, like a group of users. So this group of users came on January 25th. This is another group of users. And for every group of user, I'm tracking how many of these stayed, in this case, it's a retention table. So how many of them stayed during the first day, 6th day, etc. Why is this important? Because if I make a change in my product over here, then I want to see if the metrics, let's say same day 2 retention, here and here are different. Because otherwise, if I don't track it by group, then over here, I will probably not see it, because it's going to be a sum of my all users or users by some. So you have to be mindful of what actually comes into this, like numerator and denominator of this thing. And cohort analysis is a fantastic way to do it. Pretty much every analytics tool knows how to do it. The way how we typically use it for A/B testing, for instance, is that we are, for us, these are not days, these are releases. So let's say I have 2-week sprint, so I release something. Let's say this is an improvement for my login or for my sign-up process. I just got rid of 2 steps out of 5. So I think when I release this, that my activation metrics should be better. Now it's a great way for me to track it. So okay, these are users that registered before, here are their metrics. Now the users that are registered after that, here are their metrics. And that's the scientific way or proper way to measure the progress and look at A, at the right metric, B, in the right dimension. So on the left side, this is again the same concept that you break your users into the cohorts. In this case, it is by the channel, because it's very nice to say that you are dealing with all your users in the same way, meaning whoever comes in, we just serve them this and that, or we track them, their retention and something else. But actually you are launching different campaigns. Let's say on LinkedIn, maybe one campaign. In Facebook, you're just chatting with them, and then there are people who just learned about you at the conference, and these are they have different, let's say, engagement. So for instance, if I suggest that you go ahead and check out this expense and say, maybe if you dare to do this, then probably you'll pay more attention to it than if you just saw some ad on the web. And we, as a product, we should track you differently, because otherwise we can't see if this is the source or this is the actual change in my product that leads to the change. So when startups are focusing on and frankly, I quite rarely see that people do it this way. Typically, it's just, you know, at best, they are looking at the churn numbers. That would be a fantastic situation. And these are people that, and I hope this isn't you, that are pouring literally like tens of thousands of dollars into the marketing campaigns, and they don't do analytics. Sometimes we just see applications out there that come to us. Hey guys, could you please develop this feature or that feature? And then we do that, and then they launch application and the marketing campaign that costs like, you know, 20K per week, and they don't have analytics in the application to track how effective that was and what people actually do. So don't be like those guys. So it's like bad idea. So yeah, this is also very interesting. I would say it kind of overlaps with the overall business idea, because the answer how you as a founder, as a team, are actually going to earn money is, well, one of the most important things to answer, to ask. And I don't know about you guys, about your clients, maybe they are more conscious, but I'm not lucky. So I'd say half of mine cannot answer this question clearly. So literally, I see answers like, we'll do subscriptions. Okay, what exactly they are going to subscribe for? Why should they subscribe? How's going your funnel look like? Let's say like in every product, I mean, if you subscribe for Apple Archive, for instance, I guess everyone or almost everyone tried this. Maybe some other products, you typically have this trial period when you're not charged, and then there is a conversion. So why should you subscribe? How does it going to look like? And why this is important is because it ultimately impacts how you build the product. What is going to be, what those features are going to be there to facilitate your method of monetization. If this is ads, fantastic, but you should be aware that you should have a substantial traffic before you see your first dollars. Like, we've been running mobile applications for, I guess, a decade or so, and yeah, when you get past like 20,000-30,000 daily active users, things are good. You are making money, but before you break first 10,000, you don't really make much. I mean, from ads only. So this is, I don't know if you guys or any of you read the Lean Startup book, but this is classification from there. So there are probably more in this guide or this methodology. We suggest to just think of it as the engines of growth. So your business grows when the number of users, the number of paying customers are growing. So, and there are different ways to make them grow. So in the first case, when let's say think about email client probably, or a social network, you as a customer, you are inviting more users, not because you're incentivized to do this, but because you're just, let's say I'm just using Instagram. No, I'm not, but my friend is using Instagram and he is sending me links, and I have to install this application to open those links to see those pictures. And this is a viral engine of growth. So when the product is designed in a way that by simply using it, I invite more people, more than one person actually convert, and that's the virality coefficient of like 2 or whatever. I mean, if I as a user invite on average 2 users, so that's 2, and it just grows exponentially. Nice picture never happens. So the other one is more about the organic products, organic system, so to say. By organic, I mean there is little to no paid acquisition. This is the game that we've been playing in our publishing business for a long time. This is the sticky one. So pretty much I don't I don't pay for user acquisition, meaning I just I have an application, and this application is the people find me in the just organically in the App Store, and they install it, and then my goal as a business is to make sure they never leave. I do whatever I can to minimize their churn, or just to make sure, at least to make sure that the number of new users are bigger than the number of churned users for the same period, and then it grows. And the final one, the paid one, it's very typical, I would say, for, I wouldn't say majority, but a lot of products. Sometimes it is combined with the previous one, with the sticky. Basically, this is, I think you're all familiar with the ads, buy this fantastic jewelry, gear, something else on Facebook. That's exactly what the method is about. The customer acquisition cost, meaning you click in the ad, is less than the margin of these guys who are selling you, some Chinese product for overpriced Chinese product. Okay, this was probably like not the consumer example. For B2B, that would be a software as a service for which I, as a business, invest, I don't know, 5K into acquiring some business, but the lifetime of this business is way more than 5K, so I'm fine. And rarely we can see good answers to these questions when we are starting. And the good exercise to get them right is to feel again, who saw this before, this canvas? No? Okay. Okay. No. So I'm glad I bring you some new ideas here. So okay, this tool is quite, I don't think very old, maybe 10 years at least, something like that. Basically, this is the method for you to structure key aspects of your business. And I won't go into too much details, and I have a reference like books and everything at the end of the presentation. But what is important for us here, and I just took the Uber example because everyone knows Uber. So here there is a clear definition. What is the value for the customers to actually use Uber? What is the value for these are customers, these are drivers. What are the value for the drivers to be part of the Uber? Then it just lays out very nicely like who this is going to work with. So I don't want to go into too much details, but basically this is like the reason I like this tool is because if you go from quadrant to quadrant when you're talking to the client, we're not probably showing it to him, but at least having this in your mind, you're asking a lot of good questions about their business and structuring it in your head, and this allows you to significantly improve the outcome for the client or for yourself if this is your startup. And this is the cheapest way to avoid failures with the startups. And for some reason people don't, literally this is like 2 days exercise to get this like first version. Obviously most of things you're going to fill in there are going to be your assumptions, and then you go out and test them. MVPs are to test the assumptions, not to release the whole product to the market. So sorry guys. So now the fun part comes, engineering part comes. So there are different ways how this mistake is made and how products are getting killed. So I'm proud I never used this method. I'm good in engineering. So at the same time, it typically comes in a way of either delaying an important technical decision or making, I would say, some overpriced choice or not very wise choice in the beginning, so that later on it bites you, quite hard. So and the examples of the mistakes are, let's say I'm crazy and I'm building a social network and I want to release it very quickly, so I take some startup that is providing me this news feed functionality. So I don't build it, I just use someone else's. Typically these things are priced as like per user, so the more users I have, the more money I'm paying. And as my business scales, my partner's business actually scales even better, but it's me who is giving away most of my revenue. For him it's a business model, for me it's an expense. So this is one of the, again, I'm not discouraging from ready-made solutions, because the opposite of this is we're going to build everything from scratch. This is the other like edge of the spectrum, and neither of this is good. I think is with the most parts of it, it's more about the balance, and yeah, it's quite hard to answer the questions. When do you need to stop engineering and just release it? Engineering meaning like designing or like architecture or something else. At the same time, I'd say, I'd say this, like, again, things are saying it's like, yes, it's my experience, but based on some best practices, based on some failures and stuff like that. So general recommendation is simple solutions, they always work until they don't. So you need to catch this moment when they stop working, or these architectural decisions are starting to hold you back. So this like, where is this? Yeah, this one. So it's actually a great recommendation from one of the interesting books I have in the reference. Basically, the idea is that you go as fast as possible, taking shortcuts as as you see fit. At the same time, you are monitoring how quickly you go. So at some point, because of the shortcuts, your team is going to slow down, like technical debt, it comes, it bites you, and then there are some things that you cannot change quickly. For instance, if we go to the example with this stream component that I borrow from someone else, then it's entirely possible that I want to make a change and my vendor cannot make this change. So, okay, I don't have flexibility, and this may or may not be a problem, but these are all signs that probably this is the moment when I should think about my architecture a little bit more and maybe make some choices. Again, very hard to give like, okay, do this or do that. It's balanced, but at the same time, so bad examples, unfortunately, that I have are clients that are coming to us saying that, okay, we just need this small feature completed, everything else our previous vendor has done. Can you please do it because we almost spent our budget? And unfortunately the answer is no, sorry, because when you start digging in, it's typically way more than just one feature, like it wasn't tested, it wasn't well engineered, and all the like variety of side effects of this. So unfortunately, I guess in like all my career, I've seen maybe 3 or 4 really well engineered products, maybe 5 well engineered products. Not, I mean, external ones. So where the customers come in with a ready product, and you're delighted to work with it. It's so good. You're happy that you learn from someone. So unfortunately, it's quite rare. It happens, and I hope it's going to be your product. So yeah, this is also very cool. And I don't know about Croatia. In Ukraine, I would name this as maybe number 2 reason for failures. This is lack of funding. So we are going to bootstrap this. So we are not giving you the best tools. We're not hiring the best engineers. We're not having any marketing budget. You guys go ahead and do something on social network. Is going to work. And the problem with the approach is that, yeah, bootstrapping is a good idea generally because you are mindful of the expenses. At the same time, at some point, and it's very important to catch this point, it is limiting you because, okay, you could move faster, you could experiment faster, and you keep the same team working on the same product for like half a year and you're barely half through. It demotivates people, it demotivates you, and all you could actually do, if the idea is viable, all you could actually do is just give away like 5, 10, 20, whatever % of the company in exchange for funds that you actually need to grow this. And as I said, I'm not sure about this market, definitely not US. In US they're good with that, but I see this is a frequent mistake. So trying to find some scraps, once I had a client who was fun, I was doing freelancing back then. So I had a client who was funding the product from her own savings, and when the product didn't go well, partly because of me, she was very, very frustrated. So yeah, I did my I was part of the problem, yes, but even bigger problem was the strategic one, that yes, you want to build this, yes, you want, you know, as much money out of it. At the same time, you should be mindful of what position you are putting yourself and your team into, and betting everything, or like your year of work of your team on something that may not be achieved. That's, you know, not the best leadership, well, from my opinion, for sure. So yeah. Oh yeah, this is very cool thing. I think you heard the term, the survivorship bias. Basically, this is Facebook didn't have any good architecture, and look at them. Or I don't know, Steve Jobs didn't know how to code, and look at Apple. So yes, you can find these examples. By the way, Facebook was very clever with their marketing, and even though they didn't have the best engineering at the very beginning, they quickly compensated that because of funding and marketing. If anyone saw the movies or read the articles, that's, you know, they didn't have shortage of cash. So what I'm trying to say is that there are examples of great products. I would say Bootcamp. No, what's it called? From the guys who invented Ruby on Rails. Basecamp, yeah. Basecamp and other products of this gang. They are all bootstrapped. They are very cool. It's a great example how you can be lucky and very smart and do it. Typically, funding is good at some point. Yeah, so I'm old enough to remember what RTFM is. One of the easiest ways to avoid not everyone thing, but at least some portion of these mistakes, is to, or I would say the cheapest one, is to try and read some of these. At least if you don't like to read, there is a video course literally taught by the VC investor, so that when he invests, he has better chance of success of his startups. So this course is actually based on this book. So so the whole course, they're talking about how to use this thing, how to lay out our business, how to create MVP, what MVP should be. So very, very cool. I prefer reading, but I can definitely recommend it. This one is about marketing. So if you never read any books about marketing of the startups and you don't have time for anything, read this one. It's going to save you lots of time, money definitely. What else? Yeah, this is just fun, at least for programmer. And this one is if you are starting a startup or working with startups and haven't read it, probably you are not doing your best, or you're very smart and you figured it all out yourself. So, any questions? Yes, a few. Do you need more details? So.
Who is working?
Oh yeah, I don't work on them. So we have a startup. It's a platform for like think Airbnb for people that shoot movies. Basically, if you are looking for a place to, like a nice yacht or mansion or something, and you need for your clip, you come to the platform and you're there. We are number 2 in the US in this niche, and we are operating in mostly Los Angeles, New York, whole Canada. We don't have competitors in Canada, and yeah, unlike in Europe. For that product, we bootstrapped it. And at some point, when we saw that we can be much more successful, mostly with marketing and operations with external funding, we actually got the funding. But frankly, it was the first time we ever did it. because we kind of have, so Postindustria, the company I lead, we have two parts of business. We have service, where we, like, it's more or less classic outsourcing, not in the classic sense, like we mostly focus on products again for clients. But it allows us to bootstrap with significant cash, meaning it's typically called seed round that we can bootstrap because we're pretty much channeling the revenue of profits from the service into the products. And the mode of operation is that when we are successful, we get a few million checks. So that's nice. When we're not successful, okay, we write this off. And the other question is?
Do you have the best people developing it, or?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So the other product we do is in AI domain. It's for virtual try-on of jewelry, and yeah, you always can find someone better, but yeah, I'm past that bias, fortunately. Yeah.
I'm guessing you mainly work with the US market, right?
That's right.
Work on the European market?
We did. Rates are better in US. That's it.
Yeah.
And frankly, historically, we just started. Again, okay, so we're an old company, like 16 years ago, and in 2008, offering a developer in Los Angeles for $15 per hour was a steal, and in Ukraine, you could get a senior developer for like $500 per month. So like fantastic business, never exists today. But just historically speaking, we started there, and that's why we continue there. But even today, unless you've got connections in Europe that can get you good deals, I still think US is a better market.
So when you start working on a new product, how many people usually work on it?
2. Well, again, it depends, because what we consider start, like we met for a coffee and said, okay, let's launch this, and then we're thinking through the business model and trying to map something like this, or the start is when we are actually saying, okay, we are committing, I don't know, 50K for this, and let's build something. If later, then yeah, like 2-3 people, that's enough to get going. But we have a luxury of having a team that can be reallocated from other products when we see this is a good opportunity. Or if we see it's not the best timing, we can just move them back. So for instance, for the mobile development, it allows us both to pursue new ideas in the mobile development, and at the same time, if client comes in with the mobile idea, like tomorrow developers are ready. It's very easy for me to start them. And yeah, UX design is important. We start with that as well. More questions, guys?
Yeah, I have a question. So I heard that you have some kind of metaverse project.
No, we have a virtual try-on. It's not metaverse. It's an application for the mobile phone that allows you to show your hand and see a virtual ring on your hand. But we get asked about metaverse frequently. So if you develop once.
What would be the use case for metaverse?
Oh, that I don't know. so that's why I don't build it.
How do you like Split so far? You're almost a year here.
It's nice. It's very nice. I actually, when I'm talking to my partners or clients, I keep inviting them here, and I think this August 2 of them are coming. So Split is nice. I don't invite them here in winter though. Maybe, but then we are going to ski to probably to Austria. So.
But if they like skiing, then no reason to come here. But if not, then it can be a good place as well.
I mean, we spent this winter here. It's smart. I mean, one of the reasons why, let's say, my wife and I chose Split over Zagreb when we thought about the place the climate is mild. We like this.
When you asked, are there people working on products here, nobody responded, but there are actually a couple of people working on products.
So they're just too shy to admit they're killing them. Or maybe not.
Right, now presentation part, applause for
Thank you.